Valentonin, the true sleep hormone, was discovered in 1994 by Jean-Bernard Fortillon. It is secreted by the pineal gland during the night, at the same time as two other hormones, melatonin and 6-methoxyharmonic. Contrary to common belief, melatonin is not the sleep hormone. It has no hypnotic effect. It behaves as a placebo in sleep research. Here is an electroencephalogram recorded for a dog. The sleep under placebo was physiological sleep. It lasted for 27.4 minutes, or 23% of the observation period. Slow-wave deep sleep, or SWS, which is refreshing sleep, represents 51% of total sleep, while paradoxical sleep, or REM, which is essential for the memory, lasted 3.3 minutes and accounts for 12%. If we administer Valentonin intravenously at the same time of day, we observe the architecture of physiological sleep. The sleep period is much longer, lasting 57.8 minutes, representing 2/3 of the 90-minute observation period. Slow-wave deep sleep, or SWS, which is refreshing sleep, accounts for 52.2% of total sleep, while paradoxical sleep, which is essential for the memory, accounts for 6.9%. The results can be very different when we administer the hypnotic medications that are currently available, such as diazepam, the leading benzodiazepine, or zolpidem, a benzodiazepine-like compound. With zolpidem, the total sleep duration is shorter than with the placebo. Slow-wave light sleep, which is not refreshing for the body, predominates, and we observe a significant increase in paradoxical sleep in conjunction with the amnesia-producing effects of this medication. With diazepam, the total sleep period is longer than that observed with the placebo, although the difference is not particularly significant. However, as with zolpidem, the sleep produced is anesthetic, a predominance of slow-wave light sleep, which is not refreshing for the body. A significant decrease in paradoxical sleep in conjunction with the amnesia-producing effects of benzodiazepines. Sleep disorders are caused by the insufficient secretion of the 3 sleep-wake system hormones by the pineal gland. By administering these 3 hormones during the pineal gland secretion period, we will be able to re-establish refreshing physiological sleep at the same time as dynamic daytime activity. The sleep-wake system, which regulates the body's functions, is composed of 3 hormones, which are secreted by the pineal gland during the night. Melatonin, or MLT, is the neuroprotective hormone. It protects the neurons from the destructive action of oxygenated free radicals. 6-methoxyharmonic, or 6-MH, has extremely high psychostimulant properties, comparable to those of LSD. It is the wake and cognition hormone and can be described as the daytime hormone. Valentonin, or VLT, is the true sleep hormone. It is the nighttime hormone. The secretion of the 3 sleep-wake system hormones by the pineal gland is controlled by the suprachiasmatic nucleus. At bedtime, it triggers the secretion of these 3 hormones by the pineal gland for a period of 8 hours. For a person who customarily goes to bed at 10 p.m., the suprachiasmatic nucleus triggers the secretion of the 3 hormones via the nervous system for a period of 8 hours. In our example, pineal secretion will end at 6 a.m. In any case, secretion of the 3 hormones by the pineal gland will last for 8 hours, whatever the season, the period of the year, or the length of the night. In the pineal gland, the biosynthesis of the 3 hormones from serotonin is undertaken in 3 successive acetylation stages through the action of a single enzyme, N-acetyltransferase, or NAT. Melatonin being an intermediate stage in this cascade of biochemical reactions, the measurement of its concentration in blood plasma can be used as a marker for the secretion of the 3 pineal hormones, and therefore indicates the status of the sleep-wake system. As their biosynthesis within the pineal gland gradually progresses, the 3 hormones are released into the bloodstream. They are distributed throughout the body and reach their activity sites. The following shows the progression in the plasmatic concentrations of the 3 hormones during a 24-hour period. 2 periods can be identified. A secretion period for the 3 hormones from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., during which the body is in sleep mode, as the concentrations of Valentonin in the body are higher than those of 6-MH. A second period during which the secretion of the three pineal hormones decreases, between 6 a.m. until 10 p.m. From 6 a.m. at the end of the pineal secretion phase, melatonin and Valentonin are rapidly eliminated. At this point, the prevalence of 6-MH puts the body into wake mode, which lasts until 10 p.m. Once distributed throughout the tissues of the body, the three pineal hormones undertake their actions of cellular protection and the regulation of the body's psychological and physiological activities. During the rest period, the secreted melatonin eliminates the oxygenated free radicals present in all the tissues of the body. These free radicals are produced by breathing. Two main examples of these free radicals are the superoxide anion O2- radical and the hydroxyl HO radical. These are oxygenated compounds with one single electron. They're extremely reactive and lead to the gradual destruction of the body's cells and the neurons in particular. Thanks to its powerful reductive properties via the carbon atom located in position 2, the melatonin traps these free radicals by transforming itself into 2-oxo-melatonin, which is consequently eliminated in the blood. The distribution of melatonin in brain tissue from 10 p.m. traps the oxygenated free radicals that have accumulated during the activity period. Simultaneously, these free radicals are reduced, and the melatonin is oxidized into 2-oxo-melatonin, which is consequently eliminated in the blood. At 6 a.m., as pineal secretion ends, nerve tissues are purified via this process. Meanwhile, Valentonin and 6-methoxyharmolin reach their sites of action and in turn regulate the body's psychological and physiological activities. By selectively modulating the responses of a few receptors of the 7 main neurotransmitters, and by modulating the secretions of the 7 endocrine glands of the body. In this way, the pineal gland controls the functions of the endocrine glands. As with the theory of yin and yang, Valentonin and 6-methoxyharmolin have opposite effects. The regulation of vigilance, blood pressure and muscle tonus are the result of the opposite actions of Valentonin and 6-methoxyharmolin on the serotonergic 5-HT2C receptors, the noradrenergic alpha-2 receptors, and the dopaminergic D1 and D2 receptors. Between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m., Valentonin lowers vigilance levels through the allosteric activation of serotonergic 5-HT2C receptors, which maintains the sleep status of our sample subject. Valentonin lowers the blood pressure and heart rate through the activation of noradrenergic alpha-2 receptors. Valentonin triggers muscular relaxation through the activation of dopaminergic D1 and D2 receptors. Inversely, between 6 a.m. and 10 p.m., the 6-MH increases vigilance by the antagonism of the serotonergic 5-HT2C receptors, which produces the effect of maintaining the state of wakefulness. 6-MH increases the blood pressure and heart rate by the antagonism of the noradrenergic alpha-2 receptors. 6-MH provokes muscular contraction by the antagonism of dopaminergic D1 and D2 receptors. Neuron protection from oxygenated free radicals and body functioning during 24 hours depends on how much of the three hormones the pineal gland secretes. As we have just seen, melatonin is a quantitative marker of this secretion. In practice, to ascertain the level of pineal secretion, the concentration of melatonin in the subject's blood plasma should be measured from 1 a.m. During a 24-hour period, we measured the pineal secretions of melatonin in 12 younger and 12 older subjects. There were considerable variations in pineal secretion levels between the various individuals. We observed a factor of 13 between the extremes of pineal secretions among the older subjects. On average, Pineal secretion of melatonin declines with age. However, the record for the highest level of melatonin was found in a 73-year-old subject with a maximum plasma concentration of melatonin of 124.7 picograms per milliliter. Spectacular differences in pineal secretions may therefore occur among humans. Using melatonin levels as markers, we can consider pineal secretions as normal between 20 and 200, with an average value of 50 in a healthy young adult. Pineal secretion is excessive in psychotic subjects, with a marker probably higher than 200. Sleep disorders appear when the marker falls below 10. Subjects with a low level of pineal secretion suffer from sleep disorders and are particularly at risk of neurodegenerative diseases such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. As they grow older, they become victims of these diseases once their melatonin levels drop to below 5 picograms per milliliter of plasma. The sleep state represents a transitory suppression of conscious physiological activity. It appears once the vigilance level falls below a certain threshold, which can be regarded as the sleep barrier. Once an organism is in sleep mode, the concentrations of Valentonin within it are higher than those of 6-methoxyharmalan. All of the characteristics of physiological sleep are correlated with the prevalence of the sleep hormone. A reduction in vigilance, responsible for the loss of consciousness, caused by Valentonin stimulation of the 5-HT2C serotonergic receptors. A drop in blood pressure and heart rate, correlated with the stimulation of the noradrenergic alpha-2 receptors. A reduction in muscular activity, correlated with Valentonin stimulation of the D1 and D2 dopaminergic receptors. However, it is important to distinguish physiological sleep, which is refreshing for the body, from loss of consciousness, or anesthetic sleep, produced by the range of prosoporifics currently on the market. Chudzinski's work shows that the urinary secretion of the melatonin metabolite, which reflects the pineal gland secretion of the melatonin marker among younger and older subjects, decreases proportionately to the degree of insomnia. The same can therefore be said for 6-methoxyharmalan and Valentonin, the sleep hormone. In insomniac subjects, the joint secretions of melatonin, Valentonin, and 6-methoxyharmalan are insufficient. It is therefore essential to understand that the daytime hormone, 6-methoxyharmalan, is lacking during the activity period. Sleep disorders are therefore associated with wake disorders, as we can see by our sample subjects' lack of energy during the day. A distinction must be made between primary insomnia, caused by insufficient pineal secretions, and secondary insomnia, which has various somatic or psychic causes. The prosoporific medications currently available on the market mainly belong to the benzodiazepine family and benzodiazepine-like medications, which share the same pharmacological properties. These compounds lower vigilance via the allosteric activation of the GABAergic neurons, thereby producing anesthetic sleep. The explanation for the ineffectiveness of benzodiazepines and benzodiazepine-like medications and their paradoxical effects, such as insomnia and anxiety, can be found in the presence of 6-methoxyharmalan's structural characteristics in their chemical formula. By comparing the chemical structure of diazepam with that of 6-methoxyharmalan, we observe that their steric configurations and molecular sizes are identical. The same can be said of zolpidem. As with 6-MH, these compounds block the 5-HT2C serotonergic receptors. They increase vigilance and cause insomnia and anxiety, creating the exact opposite to the hypnotic and anxiolytic effects for which they're being used. The only feasible treatment is replacement therapy via the administration of the 3 hormones, aimed at compensating for the defective pineal gland. The hormones must therefore be administered during the pineal gland secretion period, that is, during the night. The melatonin should be administered in cases of primary insomnia, characterized by a low melatonin marker of less than 10. 3 milligrams of melatonin should be administered orally at night, at bedtime. This dose is sufficient to ensure the elimination of the oxygenated free radicals during the night. The Valentonin and 6-methoxyharmaline must be administered together during the rest period, which lasts approximately 8 hours. Administration methods are extremely critical. They must be capable of reproducing as precisely as possible the physiological secretion curves of the two hormones. In practice, the only solution is transdermal administration, in the form of a patch with 2 reservoirs containing Valentonin and 6-methoxyharmaline, with a dose ratio of 4:1 in order to fulfill these conditions. The patch should be applied at night, at bedtime, and should be removed in the morning upon rising. This ensures that the sleep and wake modes are respected. This treatment consists of hormone replacement therapy using natural hormones in order to compensate for the deficiency in pineal gland secretions. Administered during the secretion period of 8 hours, the doses are 50 micrograms of 6-methoxyharmaline and 200 micrograms of Valentonin, corresponding to the physiological secretions. This treatment guarantees the absence of undesirable side effects. Given the precise roles played by Valentonin and 6-methoxyharmaline in body functions, we can legitimately claim that no better treatment for sleep disorders can be considered.